My name is Desiree Dickerson, and I am CEO and co-founder of THNDR, where we're powering the future of skill games. When we first set out, we were really aiming to target the free-to-play, mobile, rewarded space. And in doing so, we had a front row seat at not only our users, but also the trends across the broader industry as well. And what we saw in our 1.5 million users was that those users wanted one thing, and that was to wager. Interestingly, this actually mirrored trends we were seeing across the broader industry, with the rise of skill-based gaming made popular by companies such as Skills and World Winner, the materialization of online sports betting post-overturn of PASPA in 2018 in the US, and also mobile device usage really spurring the growth of on and offshore virtual casinos. However, when we looked at these trends, we did notice that there were 5 key challenges that operators in this space really struggled with. One of the most important being engagement, so how to keep users engaged between bets and in between seasons, and also how to monetize these users against the competition. Also, oftentimes, these operators needed to serve as the house and put a lot of risk on their balance sheet. Also, there's a ton of regional restrictions when it comes to this industry alone, so reaching potential audience is very difficult. And also user trust. So users often think that the house always wins or that the game is rigged. And this is why we built the THNDR platform. The THNDR platform brings peer-to-peer skill-based wagering to the iGaming space. Now, sportsbooks, virtual casinos, lotteries, and more can simply embed a suite of skill games to their platforms to drive engagement with social competition, add an additional revenue stream with a guaranteed 20% rake, totally eliminate the need to ever serve as the house, and also expand their user reach, as the THNDR platform is available to 80% of the global population. And this can all be done with a few simple lines of code. I want to walk us through an example of one of our early operators who have come on board, Mito Lotto, who is one of 4 licensed virtual lottery companies in the US. They took this very short yet elegant snippet of code and dropped it into their application, and poof. The THNDR platform has been beautifully integrated into their application. Everything, as you can see here, can be customized from card backs, colors, themes, and more. Users just have to simply click on the green Play Now button, and the THNDR platform opens up in an iframe within the Mito Lotto environment. So users are never leaving the Mito Lotto experience, really providing a persistent user experience. So without needing to become a casino or get any more licenses, Mito Lotto can now engage their users between really large jackpots. They can also add an additional monetization stream in addition to their traditional lottery tickets, and also have a much wider reach. Virtual lotteries are only legal in 7 states right now, but now that they've added the THNDR platform, they can reach 90% of the US, and as I mentioned, 80% of the global population just with the THNDR platform. So as you can see, we solved most of these 5 key challenges, not just for Mito Lotto, but for operators across the industry. But as we were building the platform, we did realize that in order to do this successfully, it would require addressing one key, very critical technical challenge, and that was the problem of player liquidity. And just to walk you through an example here, if a user in Mito Lotto places a $100 bet on a hand of solitaire, which you might be surprised happens way more frequently than you might think, if there's not another user on the platform to match that bet goes unfilled and fails, which either provides a very, very poor user experience, or Mito Lotto themselves have to actually match that bet, taking on the risk on their balance sheet. So we found that the key to solving this problem was building out the THNDR betting liquidity network. So by plugging any game or any bet into this network, this effectively eliminates the need for operators to act as the house while filling 100% of bets between cross-platform peers. So how does it work, you may ask? Using Bitcoin, of course, powered by the Lightning Network to settle bets between operators, effectively acting as a cross-operator settlement network. And this network is incredibly powerful. We are just 3 months into this network being live, and we are very thrilled at the traction so far. If we take a look at the top image on this slide, you can see that we are experiencing very consistent growth in our daily active users. And what we're also seeing here is essentially the creation of a network effect. As the user base grows, each new user who joins the network adds existing value to pre-existing users and the network overall. And just one way in which value is generated is in matchmaking. So if we look at the bottom image on this slide, you can see that over time, as operators and their users join the network, that the win rate between new and existing users coalesces towards a 50% win rate, which ultimately leads to a much more fair and enjoyable experience for both of these user sets. Other optimizations that come from this network effect include a better fill rate, reduced wait times, and more. And this network effect is what gives us a competitive advantage. Now, while a product can be copied, a network absolutely cannot. It is nearly impossible to poach users away from the gravitational pull of an established and valuable network. If you can think back to the early days of social dating apps, Tinder's very much optimized matchmaking network and their very early network effects they began growing really set them apart, and so much so that new entrants into the space had a very hard time unseating that incumbent in the market. So this is essentially what is happening at Thunder, and this network effect is absolutely working. We are really, really excited about industry reception so far. We have onboarded, or we have signed around 10 operators so far, 3 of which are currently live on the network. And these aren't just any operators. So Main Card, for example, they are a daily fantasy sports betting Telegram game. They have about 1.5 million active users who are looking for something to do on top of their DFS bets. Mito Lotto, that I mentioned earlier, has around 250,000 users with money on their platform waiting to do something more than just buy boring lottery tickets. And yes, it is still very early, but just within the first quarter alone, we are seeing very promising numbers. We have seen $120,000 worth of volume with just 2 operators live. And to dig into this number a little bit more, this is only with one of our games currently accessible on the platform, and that's Solitaire. So this number that you're seeing here is $120,000 of bets on Solitaire alone, which is wild. In the next 2 months, we have Blackjack, Bingo, Tetris, and a few others. So we 100% see this number growing exponentially. We've also reached a near perfect fill rate, which is an 81% increase since we brought the first operator on the network. We've also quickly surpassed the 1,200 monthly active user number. And to put this number into perspective, Skills, which is an industry leader and a publicly traded skill-based wagering company, they boast only around 145,000 monthly active users. So again, very, very early, but these numbers cannot be denied. So moving forward, our goal is to bring 30 operators on board by the end of next year. And if you remember, I mentioned before, we've already signed 10, so this number is not just feasible, but I can guarantee that we'll smash through it. But to just throw around some conservative projections, we do anticipate reaching around $10 million in monthly revenue just with those 30 operators alone. And luckily, given our monetization model, which is that we take a 20% rake, the industry standard, sharing that 50-50 with our partners, our revenue will grow in direct proportion to those volume targets that you saw on the last slide. So our vision is to take the Thunder platform to every bet and really solve player liquidity across every vertical. First, we are starting with the skill-based wagering market, and really tackling everything that's going on there. But as the network grows, this technology can easily be extrapolated to start targeting some of the most rapidly growing verticals in this space. So virtual casinos and enabling new bet types, online sports books, so working with small and medium-sized books to make cross-operator matchmaking and payments a possibility, and then moving on to prediction markets. So as you can see, there is a whole new world of peer-to-peer gaming and cross-operator interconnectedness evolving in this space. And THNDR sits at the very center. We are absolutely excited to be on the cusp of single-handedly enabling a new future for betting. Join us.